Welcome back to See You Next Thursday with Pixie Retreat. I am Willow.
I'm Tree.
And what are you thinking about talking about today?
Well, it's Independence Day, and we were talking about what that means, freedom, personally, and not in the celebratory way that we experience here in the U.S. It's not one of my favorite holidays, but
Okay.
that's another topic. It's all the fireworks. It's just crazy to me. So anyhow, what freedom means and how do we obtain it when we have all of these amazing practices we work on and yet can't see the results fast enough sometimes, you know? And what's the point of a journey if we think we have to just jump all the way forward and think we have to reach the outcome? And so what are the things that are tripping us up? Like, what's your trauma source? What are the things that are getting in the way of us obtaining that ultimate freedom that we're truly seeking when we feel like we have all these tools around? And I said to you, who gonna check me, boo?
And she said that basically because we were having a very challenging day. So that was like,
And I said that because...
kind of, it was a sarcastic,
Yeah, well, I said that because I'm gonna check myself.
but she wasn't.
I did at different points, but Willow will check me, and I
And
realized...
you checked me.
Yeah, and I realized when I want to really get past something, I have to check myself, ultimately.
Well,
So.
I mean, we're not going to change for other people. And I'm trying to think, I think it's Abraham that always says, we don't change based on other people's experiences or words. It's like we have to experience stuff ourselves in order to make the changes. And it's like, interestingly enough, you know, I find it so interesting when we do the same things over and over again and can't see it. So it's like we don't, like, for example, like say, when a situation keeps happening in your life, you know, like say, I don't know, you keep getting into car accidents or something like that. I'm just going to throw something random out there. And it keeps happening, but you, or say me, I'm not really a car accident person, but like, or better, let's use a better thing. Like maybe I keep finding myself in situations where I'm on damage control because I said something to the wrong person. I said something maybe that was out of turn to the wrong person, and then it came back to me through another person and snapped me on the ass. And maybe that's happened like 3 or 4 times. Well, if I'm really going to shift and change, I think it's really important for me to look at the fact that I am the constant in that picture. That this situation keeps playing out for me to learn something about, not all the other people that are playing roles in these scenarios that play out, but being able to see that I'm the constant. And then, what do you think about that?
So that's getting in the way of your freedom?
No, but yes, actually,
I think-
it does get in the
I
way
think
of
what you're
freedom.
trying to say is you're recognizing your like tripping points, like
Yes.
the things that trip you up, the things that get in my way of me kind of doing that fold.
Closing the gap, going...
Of going from quantum to the void to 3D. Like 3D,
What does that mean?
3D is how we operate in, you know, we use our hands and we
Well-
cook food and we like go to work.
Well,
and,
what I've
and then
understood...
the quantum is up is where it's the unknown, where everything's possible. The void is kind of in between, and I find myself there applying my known day-to-day 3D reality. Get up, make tea, brush my teeth, whatever, and then coming from the quantum when I'm sleeping. So what I'm trying to say is how do I get to where I want to be in the quantum faster when I know I have my meditation, yoga, exercise, long sleep, you know, chill things that I do, take care of my body, eat well, all these things, and yet I still have these things that hold me back from obtaining my freedom faster, and it's all mental. And it's all of those things, like your behavior might be, what you were like chitter-chatting about somebody else.
Yeah, like maybe speaking out of turn and, you know, like having a conversation with somebody and maybe saying something thinking that the other person already knew it, but they didn't. And then I'm not saying that's something that I've done recently. I really want to talk about something that's standing out, but it's not right. Again, that would be me doing that. So, but what I'm trying to say is that I think that part of the notion of freedom is really realizing that we are making the choices that either take us closer to that or hold us back. And when each one of us, or myself, can begin to take responsibility for my choices and the things that I choose to say or do, that's a way for me to get closer to my freedom. If I can't see myself in these pictures and I spend my time blaming these other people that were maybe bit players in these scenarios where I was the constant in each
These
one.
patterns of yours.
Yes. What did I say that was
No, that's
not accurate?
Like, I'm just reaffirming it. Like you might have certain patterns that you're seeing that are revealed, and other people are bit players in them.
Yeah.
And those patterns are the things that you or me. I intrinsically know that my patterns sometimes are the things that are holding me back from everything.
Well,
I
they're
desire.
they're the things that are holding all of us back. We've talked before about our limiting belief systems, or the fact that most of us working on an autonomic situation where our bodies are actually in charge over our minds, because most of us are just, not most of us, all of us are really living in these in our known day to day. And as we move through the known day to day, it's really, really easy to fall into these patterns that aren't working for us. And it's like we give our energy away when we aren't taking responsibility and learning the lesson more quickly. I mean, how many times do I have to go on damage control before I'm going to stop and say, oh my God, I'm the constant
Or
in each one of these pictures.
Is it worth
I'm
it
the constant.
to engage in that thing that doesn't feel good for you when you know it's the thing that's holding you back from
Yeah.
everything you desire?
Yeah.
And I'm
I
talking
mean-
to myself here because I have some patterns.
I mean,
and,
for example, let's be real. Let's be real about a pattern. So the two of us, based on all of the work that we did with Pixie Retreat, we started those mornings really, really early. We would start those mornings between the two of us when we were just doing it. We'd be up by 4 a.m. We might be meditating at that point, but we were up at 4 a.m. and we were in the
3:30.
kitchen, sometimes 3:30. We were in our kitchen or wherever we were doing our stuff by 5:30 in the morning. And
earlier.
we would start doing stuff, and because there was so much new, we would fight. And it was a pattern. It was this pattern that it's like it got into
Aries,
a groove.
Ram, Capricorn.
We both have
goats.
horns, both got the horns, and it's like we both know how to
Horny.
well, that's really not what was going on in those situations. It was more about, being aggressive. And
Two cardinal signs.
right. So basically what I'm trying to say is that this pattern has played out for a period of time. But here we are in this new situation where none of that is playing out. We don't have those same situations playing out. We have this tremendous opportunity to shift things up by just being conscious of the choices that we're making. And when I see myself in these patterns, stopping quickly, auto-correcting quickly, so that it doesn't play out beyond
Because
a
we
few
know
minutes.
where that's going to go.
Right. It's like
And those are the things,
it's
the ways that we
sequence
engage
and consequences.
At times. Yeah.
It's like when you can see the sequence because you know the pattern. It's like seriously, when this stuff happens, it's like I know what she's going to say next. It's a pattern. It's like it's a groove that's been played out over and over and over again. And so
it can be really ridiculous.
It's so
And
ridiculous.
We know that
if we filmed ourselves doing it, we'd be so mortified.
maybe next Thursday.
Maybe we'll do it.
But I mean, those are the things that we lose time, and not in a good way, because it halts the progress that we're making and moving forward. And that's what I think the crux is. Working towards that freedom, wanting to be on the super highway, and what is it in Germany? Like going so
The Autobahn?
fast. Yeah, we're going so much faster at accelerated rate to get to where we want to be, which is to be free on all levels and to feel free. And I do feel free in many ways, but there's many more ways that I want to feel way more free, unencumbered. And yet, like I said, I do my daily practices, we do our cleansing, we make it a priority with our food piece and our exercise and our self-care stuff. And yet
we still
I'm
find
still
ourselves.
dealing with it's almost like somewhere inside, I don't know where it is, and what is that trauma little source. It's like a little pearl in there. It's like holding it, my little inner child, and that's the source of everything, where all my reactions come from. And that's the thing, my self-talk, my inner dialogue, that I constantly have to talk myself off the ledge and lift myself up from the bottom of the emotional guidance scale and try to climb up and get higher and give myself some grace when I'm at the height and try to do more of that, because as Abraham Hicks says, the more that we focus on feeling good, the universe is watching and will create more scenarios for you to feel good and enjoy it. And so that's really the objective. And yet we have this opportunity, and still we are like, it's almost like we're putting these blocks in the way
we're
towards
enslaving
our freedom.
ourselves into these ridiculous patterns. And so I guess to me, freedom is recognizing all of that, that I am making all the choices in my life every single day, and to be excited about the choices and not have to feel bad about some of the choices that I've made. It's like independence and freedom for me really does mean, I think for a lot of us, when we think about freedom, we think about like financial freedom, maybe freedom from illness, all of those kinds of things. And those are really, really important things. But it really starts with being conscious of the freedom that we have with the choices that we're making every single day. And just really consciously,
It's like crafting your life.
yes, and really consciously respecting that freedom of choice that we really, really do have. We may not have, there may be certain situations that we walk into, like at work, we don't have all the freedoms that we think we want to have. But within our personal being, we at any point in time are free to make the better choice. Always. Always.
And so why do we want to wallow in things that hold us back from that ultimate satisfaction? And freedom too is when I do find myself spiraling, I do the Joe Dispenza thing, and I extract myself quickly.
What's the Joe Dispenza thing?
Go up into the quantum, into the dark blackness.
How do you do that?
Well, I just do it. I imagine myself like almost like if I was one of those cannonball ladies. You remember?
Oh yeah,
Robin
yeah.
from,
What's her
Paris?
name?
Robin.
Robin. That's right. We met this woman. She was so cool that she was like,
She shot out of cannons.
she shot out of cannons.
And,
So
like,
amazing.
The circus?
No.
And different events, doesn't
Yeah.
matter. But anyway, but more high speed than that. Almost kind of like a rocket, but a human rocket. Zoop. I'm like going up into the quantum, and it's not all fluffy white clouds, it's blackness. And there, all of my anxieties and worries disappear and absolve. And that to me is freedom, because you don't have any cares. You're nowhere, nobody, no one, no thing, no time. And that's, I think, the objective with freedom. Meditation can get you there.
I think, honestly, we were having this conversation the other day, and Teresa asked me, do you ask me, like, if there was one thing, like, if I could only take one thing with me, like, I don't know, like one practice that I have, I had to choose of all my practices. So like, say like my gratitude practice, my yoga practice, my like weightlifting practice, my food practice, my meditation practice. I would take meditation over all of the rest of them, because it really and truly, all the rest of them are icing on the cake of meditation, because meditation has really, really helped me to clear that monkey mind and to push the fears out and away, or to actually really allow myself the freedom to feel those feelings and remember that they're just feelings, and feelings pass. They don't tend to be things that hang around forever and ever. Feelings are like clouds. They're just kind of constantly moving through.
Well, also, if you're good with all of your actions and behaviors, if I'm good, that I'm not in conflict with myself and I'm in the flow. Mm-hmm. And so like the food piece, even though this is our journey and we're really into healthy food and sharing that, I could be the worst eater in the world in America with the standard American diet. I could have the worst diet in America, but I could be so happy and content with it that I'm healthy, because my mind is not, I'm not in conflict with my being. And, I'm being subjective here. So like, who knows how it would really go. I just feel like if you're right with yourself and you don't have any like, oh, I shouldn't be doing this, I shouldn't be doing that.
You're not beating yourself up for doing something that you're doing.
You're in a good mindset. And so that's why I think the meditation piece, you take away all of the practices and the working out your body, because technically you can rewire your brain and your body can transform without doing the beating up of your body, doing the physical exercise. So
Totally.
the mental piece is really the highest of the high.
It
and
is.
everything else works in
Well-
tandem with that. And usually also the mental piece is the thing that can be our biggest obstruction, because it's the
for
thing that
sure
creates
my biggest obstruction.
Well, it creates the resistance.
Yes.
It creates that ridiculous conversation that
But
where
what I
you're,
was
like,
learning,
questioning.
what I was just learning the other day, I was listening to this really cool, it was on Gaia, you had to sign up for it. It was Joe Dispenza Rewired. And he was basically saying that the three things that really get in the way of us changing and becoming the free person that we want to be in all these realms of our lives is, first off, our bodies, second off, our environment, and third off, time. And what he was basically saying is that, we have these ways that we do it, like say every morning you get up and you have a cup of coffee and you read the paper, maybe you watch the news. It's like our bodies become so conditioned that our mind doesn't have to think about any of the things that our bodies just start to naturally do. It's as if there's a series of computer programs that just kind of run a series of things that we do on the day-to-day that we don't really think about that much. I mean, even consider say, when you're driving and all of a sudden you realize, OMG, how did I get from here to there? I was like in a trance or something.
That was 10 hours.
Or no, I mean really, when all of a sudden you kind of realize, whoa, I've been in a little bit of a trance. Because that kind of happens, especially like when you're on a road trip or whatever. So the body can get in the way. The body can begin to tell the mind in its ways that it is, like say you're trying to quit smoking. Well, the body will say, oh no, let's do that tomorrow. We'll do that tomorrow. The mind and the body will get in cahoots in that way. And then he was basically saying that our environments, the situations that we find ourselves in day to day to day, if we don't switch those environments up, we're never going to meet our freedom, because we're always going to be in the known. And the
the same
known
thing.
does not produce anything new. It can, but it takes a much longer time. When we get into the unknown, it's like
Everything's
more shit
possible.
can happen, because it's
But the known is also
but
like
then let me
those-
just do the last thing. The last thing is time. And all of us are really caught up in the notion of time, and that we're not doing things fast enough, or that we're behind our schedule or whatever. And so those three areas are areas that can really, really halt our meeting the freedoms that we're really seeking.
And the known is this for me. It's those things that get in my way and create the mental blocks and do the opposite of what I want.
Give
When
me an
I'm not
example.
focusing on what I want, and I'm focusing on the things that are frustrating me, that are overwhelming me, that are bothering me, that are getting in my way. All that's doing is keeping me in that place. And so when I focus on actually my objective of what we're creating and what we're working towards, then I get excited. And that the excitement is an unknown feeling, because it always feels kind of like magical and butterfly and like woo. And then the other stuff feels heavy and old and tired and like, ugh.
But-
This is not the piece of myself that I want to carry with me anymore. And I know that it's creating the resistance that's keeping me further away from
Your
my freedom. And so that's why the emotional guidance scale is so helpful. When I find myself in the lower echelon, I know that I can climb. And so I have to think about things. So with the meditation piece, with clearing the mind, going into the quantum, there's nothing known there, because the objective is to think about nothing. And so, that's not necessarily easy, because it's like, oh,
Well,
what
and
time's dinner?
also in the quantum, there is no time. Time is not. It exists here in the 3D world that we're living in on planet Earth, but it doesn't exist in the quantum, which is basically the unified field. It's the universe, the unified field.
So
And
what are we asking ourselves? Like, what do we do how do we get to our freedom faster? Oh, I mean, I think
we
it's-
have to check ourselves.
we have
It's
to
like
check- yeah.
we have to begin to
You gonna check
consciously
you.
Who gonna check you, boo?
You gonna check you,
You
boo.
gonna check you, boo. It's like we just have to get more conscious of making those choices that we know feel good and lead us toward our freedoms.
And the things that are habitual and the things that don't feel good that are habitual, whether it's self-talk, whether it's habits that turn into patterns that aren't, they're just patterns.
Yeah.
And you can break them by starting a new one.
Yeah.
21 days, 40 days.
I mean, like right now, for example, one of the things that we've kind of tossed in to shake things up is that we've been cleansing. And so, and it's
we've been doing a deep dive every month.
yeah.
And so it's kind of half the month.
This is the third month that we are into it, and we have like a goal of doing 6 months to see some stuff, to see some physical stuff shift and
Mental.
change, and mental stuff shift and change. So
So, long story short, wanting to obtain our freedom faster, and in order to do that, it's shedding old skin for me, and really and also when things present opportunities and like maybe you should go do that thing, maybe you should because it sounds fun. So that's what I'm doing something different, trying to break out of the monotony of what I feel like I need to be doing, because nobody tells me what I need to be doing. I tell myself, it's this whole like mental constructs that we create in our mind that can be a hindrance or they can be help.
well, and I mean, it's like we're all just humans. We're just here doing the best that we can, and looking for, I mean, for me personally, I'm constantly looking for those things that I can meet that best version of myself, knowing that there's going to be some not so great versions of myself that come through. And, another piece of that is for me to be kind to myself in my humanity, because I'm just a work in progress.
And seeking ease.
Constantly, I mean, at this point in my life, seeking ease. That was not the way that I used to move. I used to have mantras like no pain, no gain. That has gone out the window. Or money is the root of all evil. Out the window.
Or you need to work harder.
You need to work harder. Out the window. It's like those
Or you
are
don't
out
deserve
the
this.
I mean, I don't know about the rest of you, but exactly. But can't you see that time, it just seems like it's just moving so much more quickly. And so it's been really cool to be where we are right now, because for me personally, I'm not paying as much attention to time, because most of the stuff that I have going on right now is the deadlines and such are mostly self-imposed. So I can be more fluid with time.
Well, we kind of lose time except for liking to get up earlier and do the meditation when it's still dark.
I love that.
And so that, I think I'm most conscious of time at that point, and I'm also conscious of time at the end of the day, because I want to make sure that I get enough sleep so that I can get up earlier and have more energy.
So
Yeah.
What would you say are the most important things to you for connecting to your freedom?
For me, the most important thing, number one, is it's all within myself. It has nothing to do with anybody or anything or any opportunity or anything. It's all right here in my brain. And
I was going to say that state of mind.
for me to really, and it's the segment intended we talked about. So like lately, I've been having to, I segment intend before I go to bed. Okay, I'm going to have a really good night's sleep. I'm going to have great dreams, which I always do. And then I'm going to wake up in a good mood, because I always woke up in a good mood. And then I found I wasn't waking up in a good mood. And like, what's that about? So I'm going to wake up in a good mood. I'm going to have a productive day and just enjoy it. And then do something that feels good, like swimming feels amazing. So
good.
that's what I'm working on. And I find myself with still having these old, tired inner dialogues, and I wonder, like, who is this evil spirit in my brain? This like inhabited my brain. I think maybe like a ghost came in there and is living in my like atmosphere and dictating my thoughts sometimes. So I need that person to be gone. Maybe I need an exorcism.
No, I just, honestly, that's not what you need at all. I mean, that's not what you need. You're just a person doing the best that you can, and some days are harder than others.
Yeah.
And that's really that's really where our conversation started, because we'd had a really challenging morning trying to get a series of things done, but not on the same page and just kind of coming for each other.
Monday blues.
In only
even
the
as
ways that
if.
people that you really know can come for you, you know, and
Petty AF.
totally. And then we just started really talking about, like, this is not getting us closer to the freedom that we desire by
This is
behaving
like
these
a
certain
replica
kinds of
the
ways.
beginning of our business, you know.
Well, it's like we have this opportunity, because we sit in so much of the unknown right now, to do something different. And we both have really latched on to the word freedom, because it's like, we might think, you know, what we want is, you know, a ton of money in the bank, or perfect health, or a really sexy lover in our bed, or whatever. But what we really, really want is freedom. It's freedom to make these choices, to
Freedom
have
affords
these
all of those
situations.
things.
Right. And so that's really, you know, and here we are on, you know, Independence Day, and
So true freedom over fireworks. Thanks for tuning in.
thanks for tuning in, and hope you got something out of that. If you liked this little video, please hit that like and subscribe button. It really does help us, and it also really helps us when you watch the videos all the way through. Like, even if you think we're boring, just let it play and do something else. It would be super helpful to us. Anyway,
We'll see you next Thursday.
we'll see you next Thursday. Peace out.